happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for that. There are three questions that this committee asks of every nominee, and I'm going to ask you both to respond just briefly with a yes or no. Mr. Kerner, we'll start with you, and then Mr. Ellinger for the three questions. First, is there anything that you are aware of in your background that might present a conflict of interest with the duties of the office to which you have been nominated?
No.
No.
Second, do you know of anything personal or otherwise that would in any way prevent you from fulfilling and honorably discharging the responsibilities of the office for which you have been nominated?
No.
No.
Lastly, do you agree without reservation to comply with any request or summons to appear and testify before any duly constituted committee of Congress if you are confirmed?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Mr. Dellinger, the Office of Special Counsel has around 140 employees, but it's responsible for protecting the whistleblower rights of all 2.1 million employees all across the federal government. So my question for you, sir, is if confirmed, how will you ensure that every federal employee has confidence in OSC's independence and commitment to protect whistleblowers?
Thank you, Senator. The first thing I want to recognize is the fine work that OSC has been doing under former Special Counsel Kerner. He and Judge Lerner really helped, I think, to elevate the confidence that federal workers can have in OSC. I think Congress has confidence in OSC, and OSC has been doing a great job, it looks like, at prioritizing the cases that it will focus on and being really efficient and really effective with the cases before it. So my first order of business is to not disrupt the great work that's being done today, including under Acting Special Counsel Gorman. And that will be my focus. I've worked with whistleblowers throughout my career. I've been a litigator throughout my career. I've been an investigator throughout my career. So those are the core functions of OSC: to investigate, to litigate, to advocate. And it's something I have a lot of experience with, and I would very much look to be a meaningful member of the team.
Mr. Kerner, the MSPB and the OSC both serve important functions when it comes to upholding whistleblower rights and preventing prohibited personnel practices. However, the role of an individual MSPB member is quite different from that of the special counsel role. So my question for you, sir, is if confirmed, how will you approach the transition from leading an office focused on investigating and prosecuting cases to serving as an impartial adjudicator?
Absolutely. The roles are quite different. Not only is the special counsel, of course, investigating these practices, but also the special counsel stands alone, stands as a single decision maker, a single director. So the transition to going to the board will require a different skill set, both in terms of a different role, which is now adjudicating cases. It's a more judicial role, but also working in a board, working with two other members and having that kind of give and take that is required in order to come to hopefully consensus or working on the decisions. I think one thing that's really prepared me at OSC very well for this role is I've always had a very robust discussion, an open discussion process, and people were able to express their views freely. And so I've kind of been a little bit in a judicial role already because I would get opinions from various people and then had to make a call based on that. And so I think that training I will bring with me when that same thing happens in adjudicating cases, obviously a little bit more on the judicial side at that point.
Mr. Dellinger, one of OSC's lesser known but I think incredibly important responsibilities is enforcing the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, or USERRA. This law ensures that military service members and veterans don't face discrimination when they're seeking return to civilian employment. Could you briefly describe how you will prioritize USERRA enforcement if you are confirmed for this position?
Absolutely, Senator, and I'm proud of my ties to Michigan, but I'm a Tar Heel. Grew up in North Carolina, and North Carolina prides itself on being America's most military-friendly state. So for decades, my friends, co-workers have been in the military, active duty, reserves, and I've seen them leave the civilian workforce and then come back. And I strongly believe in USERRA, in the protections that Congress has established for members of the federal civilian workforce, to allow them to serve our country, to respect the fact that they have put their lives on the line for America, but then to return with no detriment to their civilian prospects. So I believe there's a sensitivity within federal agencies to the rights that federal employees have when they go on active duty or training. But when issues arise, it's up to the Office of Special Counsel to protect our federal workers who are in the military. And I'm fully committed to making sure that all the necessary resources are available, if confirmed, to vindicate the rights of every single member of the federal civilian workforce who also does double duty on behalf of America in the military.
Ensuring that employees and managers fully understand their rights and their responsibilities, I think it can be argued will help prevent whistleblower retaliation and other prohibited personnel practices before they occur, which is the ultimate goal. Mr. Kerner, are there any outreach or training efforts that you found to be particularly effective during your tenure at the OSC? And if so, or if not, are there lessons that you have learned that you're going to be able to apply to the MSPB?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The outreach at OSC was very, very important. We did about 150, give or take, in the different year. I know the Hatch Act unit goes and has meetings. I think most effective, since you asked about effectiveness, are meetings that are in person, that allow for engagement, and we did a lot of those. I noticed that MSPB also did a lot of outreach. They've done about 112 meetings, so I think we're quite aligned with them on that. As you say, it is crucially important to teach supervisors and also managers about non-retaliation. And so I think just building on the good work and having a very robust outreach function. OSC has 3 dedicated people to doing that, plus a lot of the line lawyers also go out and do a lot of the teaching. So I think just having an emphasis from the top about the importance of outreach, advocacy, and training is really important.
Well, apart from the agency's adjudication functions, MSPB responsibilities include conducting nonpartisan studies on the federal workforce that can inform policymakers and other government decisions. So, Mr. Kerner, if confirmed, how would you use your role on the board to shape the strategy for these federal workforce studies and the specific topics that they assess related to the health of the federal service?
So MSPB has a plan, actually. So they have an office, I think it's called OPE, that conducts these studies. That office has laid out a plan. It's from 22 to 26. They had about 40 studies that they suggested, looking at 6 different areas. Their proposals go to the board, so the board already approved a lot of them and prioritized a number of them. So by the time I get there, there's already a plan in place. Obviously, the last couple of studies were on sexual harassment in the workforce and on perceptions of prohibited personnel practices, so they're very timely and very important themes. They have, as I said, they have about 40 that they've already prepared, and the board has voted on to prioritize. But obviously, once I come in, I'm happy to contribute my thoughts on this topic as well.
Well, you mentioned some of the future. Do you anticipate conducting studies on the federal government's recruitment, retention, and training practices and how they can be improved? Is that something you would be interested in focusing on?
Yes, and I believe those are already on the approved list from the 22 to 26 time period.
And those are ones that you will focus on?
I think mine would be a recommendation, but I certainly think those should be considered, yes.
Great, good, thank you. Senator Carper, you're recognized for your questions.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and welcome. Nice to see both of you. Congratulations on your